All right, we are live. So, hello, social networking professionals. We are so excited to be here. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to everyone. I'm just going to pull it up on my phone just so I can see everyone's comments. And all right, well, guys, for those of you who don't know us, I'm Trisha Verzera.
And I'm Ruth Bergen.
And we are, well, let's just tell you a little bit about us. We've actually been in network marketing for a little over 20 years total between us. And I'm going to hold on just a second because I see a whole bunch of people coming on. So, all right, before we even hop into that, guys, go ahead and tell us where you're joining us from. And if you're watching the replay, hit a hashtag replay.
I see Sandra here, Mara, Janice, Luann, Darcy, Patty, Wilma, Ruth. Hey, we got another Ruth.
Another Ruth. So funny. Hello, guys. This is so great. I see Peg on here. And I see someone who, I'm not sure, Evansville, Indiana. All right. Oh, that might be Mike. All right, guys. So if you are, also, if you can go ahead and give StreamYard permission if you haven't done that already. So whoever is from Spruce Grove, Alberta, Evansville, Indiana, I'm not sure who that is.
That's Carrie. Carrie is from Spruce Grove. Hi, Carrie. Thanks for joining. Kylie from Oklahoma. Mara's here from Idaho. Sandra from Los Angeles.
Janice, I love your comment. She says, reminds me of Romper Room. With you calling our names, you're right. Oh my gosh, I used to watch that show. I loved it. Did anybody have those Romper Stompers? Do you remember the Romper Stompers? Yes. The little things that you walk with? I remember used to walk around watching that show on those Romper Stompers the whole time. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that show. So, all right. Oh, Carrie, yes. All right. Love it, love it, love it. All right, guys. Well, we are going to hop in. We have got some really cool stuff to kind of share with you guys today. Really some value of things that have allowed us to, be able to work from home for so long and really have a lot of success with it. And we're going to share with you all of our tidbits. And again, for those of you who don't know us, because I know there's a lot of new people in the group here this week, my name is Trisha Verzera, and this is my partner in crime, Ruth Sheridan. And like I was starting to say before, we have been in network marketing for a combined 20 plus years. We're both also coaches. We help people, build their businesses online. We help strategize with people. We both work with an internet marketing company as coaches as well. And but over the last 3 years, we have helped well over 3,000 people building their businesses online. We are both moms. In fact, we're girl moms. And we're both prior CPAs, which is so crazy. When we first met, we realized it was just kind of silly how much we had in common. But we're really excited to be here today and kind of sharing with you. So thank you so much for joining us.
Mm-hmm. So we have a really cool topic today because there's so many people working from home now. So drop us a 1 if you typically go to work outside of the home and now you're working from home, because that can be a challenge. And we're going to have some tips for you today on how to be super productive at home in your business, even if you've got kids running around and your own work to do and all those other things that happen when you're at home, like distractions.
Yeah, and actually, I want to know too, obviously there's probably so many of you who are working from home now because of everything that's going on that's so crazy. So if working from home is new to you, can you drop us a new? So just curious, who's been doing it for a while and who it's new for. Because obviously, we've got some different tips we want to share. And then we've got lots of ones coming in. Awesome. Awesome. So just to share with you a little bit, I've actually been very blessed. When I first got into this industry back in, oh my gosh, this is going to date me. I hate to say this number, but I got back into this industry in late 1997. All right. That's, I was a full-time CPA, and I was at the desk every day in a job, and as a CPA. And so when I left corporate America in early 1998, working from home was very new to me. And I remember, when it first started, how my day would get away from me. Like I kept thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be so great. I'm going to have all this time to build my business. And then it would get to the end of the day and I'm like, well, what did I do? Right? Have you guys ever felt that way? That at the end of the day, you're just like, okay, I had this list, but I didn't get anything done. If that is you, drop us a me below, because it definitely took some brain training and it took some personal development, but it really took just really getting refocused and understanding what it meant to build a business from home. Because when you have a real job and not that this isn't a real job, guys, I don't mean it that way, but when you have a job that you're actually going to an office at every day, it's different because you've got that environment and you've got that expectation, you've got that boss you have to report to. So it's very different on how you go through with your day. Did you find that, Ruth?
Absolutely. It was a big transition because for many, many years, I had a corporate job. So I would get up in the morning, get my kids ready for school, get them on the bus, and then hustle an hour and a half into the city to work. And, I did that whole treadmill thing for many, many years. And then when I got home, it was like, woohoo, this is awesome. And the days would go by where I would get distracted and, the laundry's got to get done. And, there's the news on TV and it's nice outside. So learning to have discipline in my day was really, really important.
Yeah. And I did the same thing. I'm like, oh, let me get my kitchen cleaned up. Let me do this. So even now it's interesting. I used to, sometimes I do try and, if I have a break, I'll go through a little washing, but for the most part, I'm kind of strict with my day now. I would do things much, much differently. And I see a whole bunch of people who seem to be struggling with this. I see a lot of me's in there. So, all right, well, this training is going to be really good for you. So one of the first things I want to share with you guys is, and you guys, we're not going to do slides today. We're going to kind of make it a little more intimate. It's going to be definitely Ruth and I sharing some tips, you guys maybe sharing some questions, and, us really kind of going back and forth and having these conversations. But one of the things that probably really was one of the biggest changes I made right out of the gate is that I would still get up in the morning. I would go work out, right? I tried to do my same pre-office routine that I used to do. So I would get up, I'd go work out, and then I would always try to be showered at my desk by a set time every single day. And back then I used to do 9 o'clock because I thought, well, I'm working for myself. I don't need to be at my desk at 7:30, 8 o'clock, right? 9 o'clock is a good time. It gives me plenty of time to go work out and do the things I want to do and then get started. So that was one of my biggest things that really made a big, big difference. Because what I found too is if I wasn't showered, then if I wanted to run out quickly, then I had at least an hour turnaround time or 45-minute turnaround time before I actually could go somewhere. And so making sure that I was showered and at my desk was great, because then if something came up or if I needed to go hold an appointment, I could just grab my bag and walk out the door and go. So that's probably one of my biggest tips for somebody.
I really like that, Trish, because that's something I do every single day as well. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, I don't get dressed in a suit like I used to, but when I get up in the morning, I've got my routine. And one of the things that I always do is I always do my hair and put some makeup on, because it's my process, right? And it sets my mind for, okay, I'm getting ready for work now. And it's nothing elaborate, but it just puts me in that headspace where, yeah, okay, I'm ready. I'm dressed. My hair's okay. I've got some makeup on. I'm ready to go. And so I don't do that on the weekends, and those are sometimes my days off, right? So it makes a difference having that routine for sure.
It does, because just like you're saying, just showing up, already, not only is it a time saver if you need to run out, but it does set the tone, right? Mm-hmm. It's just, you feel better. You're just, you're kind of happier about how that day is going to go. And, it's something, it's so funny. I do. I still do it today too, Ruth. Now, granted, even back then, we weren't doing video calls with people like we do today. But I think about it, even all the years that, I stayed at home, with my kids and stuff, but I still did a lot of accounting work on the side through those years. And even when I would take my kids to day or preschool and stuff, they would just go a couple mornings a week. But it was so weird. I was never the mom who showed up in her workout clothes to drop off or pick up her kids. Like, I was always dressed and ready. And people would say to me, oh my gosh, how do you have time to do that? And I thought, well, it doesn't take that long to shower and put some clothes on. And people are like, you always look so nice. And I'm like, I can promise you, it doesn't take me any longer to throw these jeans and a nice shirt on than it does for you to put those sweatpants and your shirt on. It's the same thing. It's just a mindset. But for me, I always wanted to be ready to go, even during those days, because while they were in preschool, I wanted to make sure that I could go run the errands that I needed to do. I didn't want to waste that, 3.5 hour window I had. So love that.
So guys, if you have a morning routine, share with us in the comments what your routine looks like, what works for you. And because really my morning routine works for me, Trisha's works for her. What's going to work for you to set your mindset right to get your day started? So one of the things that I did, Trish, as we watch for some of these comments come in, is I made sure I always had a dedicated workspace somewhere.
Yes.
And, whether it was in the beginning, it was just the corner of my kitchen, and it was my dedicated workspace that I would sit down at and do my work. And then when my work was over, my scheduled work, I would turn my computer off, and then that was done. That part of, the hours I was spending was done, and I could focus on my family or whatever else it was I was doing in the day. And I found before I started doing that, my days would all just run into each other. Like, I'd be doing my work and trying to deal with the kids and, running around and doing homework and then looking at my phone. And it wasn't very effective because I wasn't really 100% present anywhere. So I found by having this dedicated workspace, it didn't have to be fancy. When I sat down, that was my work time. When I got up, everything was shut down.
I love that. I love that. I'm loving some of the comments coming in too. Let's see what we've got here. Janice says, me either friends always thought I had a job and they all looked like they were going to yoga. And guys, nothing wrong with yoga pants. I'm definitely not saying that. It's just something for me that I didn't ever do, right? It just, in fact, we kind of joke because since this coronavirus, well, not so much now because it's nice out here. We're in shorts every day, but before it got warmer, I was actually wearing like my nice North Face pants that I have around the house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the first time in 20 some years that I've worked from home that I'm not actually wearing something nice. But now it's just because we can't go anywhere. So I thought, well, I guess I can give in.
But more of the story, guys, is it's what works for you, right? Yeah. That's working for Trish. My little routine of getting ready works for me. I wear yoga pants all day long. But it works for me, right? So whatever is going to work for you to set your mindset right is what's important.
Yeah. In fact, it's funny, the kids and I and Rob, we've all been joking because really now that we can't go anywhere, we are wearing, I've got, jean shorts on, or even sometimes not just like some of my cool lounging shorts that I have, but we always have a nice shirt on. So because nobody's seeing us, below the waist. So we're just laughing how we have all changed a little bit around here. It's just really funny. All right.
We've got some great morning routines here. Kim says, I get dressed every morning after my coffee and clearing my thoughts. Wilma says, shower, dress, makeup, coffee, read the newspaper. Mara, take my supplements, first read 15 minutes a book, meditate 15 minutes, exercise, and then get ready. So really great job getting your morning routine set up.
And I love it. Gayla says meditation and walking the dog. Rob says 1 hour of me time dedicated to learning something and personal development. And I will say that's actually something new for him. And obviously I have the inside scoop on that, but I share it because it was something he had wanted to do for a while. And there were some training courses and some books and things like that he'd really wanted to get through. And he was having a hard time scheduling them in. So now he'll take that hour first thing in the morning and he goes out on the porch with his coffee and does that. And I know it's made a big difference. So really taking the time to implement some of these is so important, guys. What else do we have here? Lots of people doing stuff. I love this. Love this. Let's see here. I get dressed every morning. Oh, wait, I think we already read that one. Shower, dress, makeup, coffee, read the newspaper. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Love this, guys. So one of the other things that really worked for me, it's obviously, having that first get up, get your day started routine. But another thing that really started working for me was knowing the night before what I needed to get done the next day. That was a game changer for me because then I didn't have to get up in the morning and sit there and go, all right, what was it I had to do today? I would already have it written out, on my list for the day. In fact, I have my my sheet right here in front of me for today, but I have it broken down. And but just really knowing, before you go to bed, what are some of the most important things that you need to get done in the morning or the next day? And then not only knowing what needs to be done, but kind of breaking them out. Okay, what can I do in the morning? What can I do in the afternoon? What can I do in the evening? Because I remember, and this is going to date us too, back when we got started in this industry, when I started doing this, one of the things is that not everybody had one of these. In fact, nobody really did. And if you did, it was more like a giant phone, right? But the other thing is the only numbers you really ever had for someone were their home number, because everybody back then had a home phone, which is becoming rarer and rarer today. Or they had their office phone and that was it. And their office was at work. It wasn't at home. So I would have to set a dedicated time to make calls to set appointments. And so I would pick certain nights of the week that I would dedicate those times for. Now that's a little bit different, obviously, but I do still set out time to still contact people. Although our method of contact is different today, and I love it because typically it doesn't need to be in the evening anymore either. People can be contacted almost any time of day. So, but having that dedicated time to make sure I was contacting the people I needed to contact, that I still do.
Yeah, I love that. I love the night before because you don't spend the first half hour of your day kind of looking around going, what am I going to do today? It's a waste of time, right? So the night before, get it done. One of the things that I did that really worked, especially when my kids were home, was I let my family know when my work hours were. So if I had, back then I was working corporate and I had my family and I was trying to build my network marketing business. So I would let them know, like between 7:30 and 8:30 at night, mom is working and, that's your homework time or, whatever it was, their activity was going to be that time. And they came to know that. And I kind of created some barriers around that time so I could actually focus. Wasn't huge amounts of time that I had, but at least in the time I had, I typically didn't always work, but typically didn't get distracted by things that were going on at home. So just letting family know, first of all, when my work hours were going to be, and second of all, and more important, why I was doing it. Because it wasn't for me, it was for them. And it was so that, I could give them things that, I wanted to give them, like university educations and important things like that. But, just letting them know that so that they also respected what I was doing and they had an understanding of what I was doing. So letting family know was huge for me.
I love both of those, Ruth. Guys, if this is hitting home with you, drop us a home. Okay. And Ruth, I love both of those, first of all. But especially, now so many people have their kids at home who haven't had their kids at home before, right? Like I know my kids are home, mine are older. It's a little bit different because I don't need to really go in and be a hover mom or anything like that. I walk in and make sure that, they're doing their schoolwork, but honestly, they're very independent and they just do it. But I know a lot of people have little kids still, so it's a very different scenario. And some people on here I know homeschool their kids. So again, something very, very different. But what I love too is not only did you have the set hours, but like you said, letting your kids know it was for them. Because I know even, when I've, maybe been putting a little extra time in, like wrapping up a rank or wrapping up a trip, qualification or something like that, letting the kids know, how this was going to benefit them, asking them to, hey, could you guys step in a little bit? I know the last couple of weeks we've had our kids making dinner at night for us, and which has been great. So I think that's really cool when they can kind of know what's in it for them a little bit. They're a little more excited to help out.
And that goes for spouses as well, right? I'll have my kid at home making me dinner. That's right.
That's right. You got Reg making you dinner. I love it. He's so good.
It's been a couple of weeks and he gets it, right? So he's really been supportive, but letting him know that I was going to be really, really busy because something important was going on. He's like, okay, how can I help you? So yeah, just letting people know.
Yeah, because here's the big thing: when people understand, it's that going back to that communication. When people understand what it is you're doing and what the reasons are, they're going to be much more supportive than just getting irritated that you're working all the time, right? So that's why it's important too to make sure you're really utilizing the time that you have, so that your kids or spouse can see that you've that you're really putting in that effort and they feel it's worth it for them.
Rob says, recruit the kids to make dinner. Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, I look at it as a win-win. Like they know how to cook for when they move out, right?
Totally.
So, all right, let's see here. One end of my dining table is my office. I love that. It's a dedicated space, right?
Yeah, totally.
Lots of people home and lots of people homeschooling. Yes, a husband, no. Okay, perfect. So guys, as we are, sharing some more tips, do you guys have things that you struggle with that you can share with us that maybe we can help you out with? And just trying to see here. I see some more. Will they move out?
That's funny, Janice.
Oh, Janice, I love you. You're so funny. Let's see. And Judy's saying great suggestions. Someone says need to start morning walk. Awake at 7, hour to myself. Love it, love it, love it. And yeah, guys. So, what other struggles are you having? Like, procrastination. Ooh, Ruth, you want to hit that one?
Mm-hmm. Often, we procrastinate for a lot of reasons. Often, it's because of us holding ourselves back. So we procrastinate because we're afraid to make a move. The other reason we procrastinate is because we're overwhelmed and we don't know what to do next. So the very first one is a whole separate training that we can do on to help you create those breakthroughs that will break that mode of procrastination. But in terms of getting things done, just having a plan the night before. If you have something written down and you commit to follow what you've written down, procrastination will move out of the way. Mm-hmm. So if you know exactly what you've got to do and you look at it, the key is to look at it and do the action, is not to stop yourself and think about it. And just having that list will really, really help. And maybe in one of our next trainings, we can talk about creating those mindset breakthroughs. Often we have things that hold us back, that cause us to procrastinate for a whole different set of reasons. We can cover that in a whole separate training.
Yeah, that's definitely a whole separate training. One of the things that I do too, in addition to what Ruth said, is when I make that list, one of the things I try to do, now I'm not always perfect at this, but is I try to do the thing I want to do least, I try to do first and get it out of the way. Because that way, once it's out of the way, first of all, it's a huge relief, right? That it's done, it's over with. But the other thing is that it makes the rest of them so easy because they were easy anyway. And so then it's going to help you really get it done. If I do all the easy things first and save that other thing that I hate last, that's when it still doesn't get done. And then it moves to the next day, into the next day.
I've done that. It moves to the next day's list.
Yeah.
The tough stuff first.
Yeah. So just knock it out first. All right. We got we got some good stuff here. Let's see. Sandra says, well, let me go back. So distraction, prioritizing tasks, having too many tasks, so losing focus. There's a lot of good ones here. Which one should we hit first?
Judy's got a good one. She says, can you talk about owning your own business as well, interior design, and creating balance of love of this company?
Oh, that is a good one. Okay. Well, I would say, and so first of all, so it sounds to me then, Judy, you've got two separate businesses and you probably love them both. But I think the biggest thing there is for you to figure out which hours you're going to work for which business, and really setting up separate work hours for those two separate businesses, just like you would if you had a JOB to go to, that you know from 8 to 5 that you're working your full time, and then from whatever hours you choose, you're working your part time. I think that's when you try to intertwine them, that's when you really aren't so successful at either. And but when you can really set a dedicated time that you're going to give it 100% during those hours, you should see a different result. At least that's how it's worked well for me.
Yeah, and I've had the same experience. It actually came down to me having to shut down social media when I was doing other things. So I've had other businesses in the past. I just haven't been in corporate, and I'd have to actually shut things off so I could focus on the one task at hand. Multitasking is not a great thing. You may think it is. You may think it's an awesome skill. It's one of the ways to become the most unproductive. So blocking your time, dedicated, focused on one task is going to propel both of your businesses forward.
Yeah. I thought this one was important too, with today's time and everything being so shiny object driven. Ed's here with too many paths to go down and losing focus. Because Ruth, I know this is something you and I really, we really had to kind of nip in the butt last fall when we were putting all of our stuff together. And and I would say if you've got too many paths to go down, figure out which one you want to really accomplish first. Which one's really, going to get you in the direction that you want to go. And then really start making your decisions on a daily basis by asking yourself, is what I'm doing today getting me closer to my goal? Because if it's not, then you need to stop that and figure out what actions you actually do need to take. And right now too, I know, Ruth and I are actually working on a couple of things where we've got a lot of really cool stuff going. But we've also, we're really focused the next 2 weeks on a couple of things with our network marketing business. We've got a lot of really good stuff, and, we've got this 4-week period that we're really giving everything we've gotten. Doesn't mean we're stopping after that, guys. I don't mean that. But we want to make sure that we are laser focused during that time, specifically on this. So some of these other things that we have that we really want and want them yesterday, they need to wait just a little bit so that we can stay focused here. And we're not trying to knock them all out at one time, because otherwise we're not going to be successful with any of them.
Yeah, I really love that advice, Trish. It really comes down, Ed, to deciding, in this week, in this month, what your immediate goals are, and then also understanding what your longer term goals are. And your longer term goals are really, what kind of business do you want to create, right? What kind of business activities do you want to be doing on a daily basis? And then make sure that the trainings you're doing or things like that, or the systems you're plugging in, are all taking you to that path. And the problem with the internet and social media is the shining objects are everywhere. So, Trish and I, we decided in the very beginning that we were going to start by building our businesses on Facebook and getting highly focused on creating a duplication system for our team. And yeah, when I scroll through Facebook, I see amazing trainings about Instagram and YouTube and all these exciting things that I would love to dig my hands into. But I know if I do that, my primary objective of creating my team duplication system is not going to come together. So you've got to figure out kind of long-term what you're doing. I'm sure the trainings that you're doing will take you there. But short-term, you may have some short-term goals that you want to knock out of the park. Like it could be a rank advancement that you've got to kind of carve out some time to get highly focused on that one thing, always knowing you're going to come back to that longer term goal.
Yeah, that's great advice. And the other thing too, I was just thinking in my head, something that I had learned along the way, and it has sometimes worked with when I have something on my list that's kind of my procrastination item. What I have done is I set like maybe I set a time, like I've got 1 hour to do just this one thing. And, I'll work on it for, like 30 minutes, take a couple minute break, come right back to it, but just allow myself just that smaller period of time. And it's amazing that when you're forced to do it in that little time frame versus having hours to do it, how quickly you actually can get it done and knock it out. So that's something too, if it's, something you're really like, I just don't know, give yourself a 30-minute window or a 45-minute window, but just knock it out during that time. You'll be surprised at how productive you can be in that short period. Let's see what else we got here. Luann says, yes, plus us learners will get confused and overwhelmed if you start too many of your projects. Absolutely.
100%. That's bang on.
Let's see. Juice is multitasking. Great advice, Ruth. Focus on one task. Multitasking does not work. No, it really doesn't. We all like to say we're good multitaskers, but it really isn't.
It's not a virtue.
It really isn't. Let's see here. Do you guys have any other struggles that you've got? Ruth, can you think of any other things that were really important to you?
One last thing, and this is something that I do on a daily basis that I find really helps me not become overwhelmed, because we got a lot of stuff going on. Like we're on all over social media and we're growing a team, we're building this system, and it could be crazy. So what I do, I actually do it online, but all you really need is a pen and a note paper. As thoughts come into my mind about things I have to get done, I write them down on a list. I take them out of my head and put them down so that I can continue to focus on what I'm working on and not be distracted by, oh my gosh, I have to remember to pay that bill, or wow, I got to pick milk up because we need it for tomorrow morning, or all those little things that pop in your head can really take you off task and you might not even realize it. So I have it online, keep this running list. I call it my dream catcher. I write everything that comes into my head into my dream catcher. And then at the end of the day, I can schedule out the things from dream catcher that I want to kind of knock off the next day.
That's great advice, Ruth. And it's funny, we've got, Rob has a huge whiteboard in his office. And that's exactly where we put some of those ideas, is right there. So we don't forget about them. We can come back to them. And then if it's something like really important, like you said, like a pay a bill or something, I honestly have a little sticky notepad that I start with every day that I'll write a couple things, and I will literally just stick it on the screen of my computer so that when I come back, I know, hey, make sure you knock this thing out first before you do anything. Like if it's something that's really important, obviously. But the other things, we just add them to the list because I'm like, yeah, that's a really great idea, but let's not get sidetracked today. Let's keep it there. I love the dream catcher phrase for it, though. That's really awesome. Love that.
Getting it out of your head, guys, and worrying that you're going to forget about it is going to take you off task. So get it out of your head so your mind is clear, and then you can really focus on what you're doing.
Yeah. So here's a question. Do you use an online calendar or a datebook type organizer? So for me personally, I do use an online calendar. In fact, we use Google Calendar, and we have everybody in the family connected. Everybody's got their own color code. in the system. And I have it here. And the main reason that we use Google is because we can have it on our phone. We can pull it up on our computer. I love a list, but at the same time, when I've got certain scheduled specific times, appointments with people, those all go in that Google Calendar. And even our kids know, of course, not so important right now, but our kids know that if it's not there, it doesn't happen, right? It doesn't, they've learned the hard way, unfortunately. But the thing is as you're planning out other things, being able to go back and know what's happening, because if I'm scheduling things, I need to know that, hey, I don't have something for one of the kids, or that Rob doesn't have something he needs me for. So it's a really good way for us to stay organized, so that, we're all on the same page together. What do you use, Ruth?
I actually use both. So I have a Google Calendar that has all of my appointments in, but at the beginning of every morning, as part of my routine, I write down in my day planner exactly what I've got and when, because we're going live now in all kinds of places and trying to fit all of this stuff in. And I want to write it down so it reminds me, okay, at this time I got to be off a call and doing this. And I just find it's a good reminder for me.
Yeah, and I kind of do the same. I've got my low notebook here, and same thing. I just go through it every single day. I've got my stuff in there, that's important for that day. But the ones that I've got the scheduled time for, they have to go in my Google Calendar, or I just forget, right? Because I need that 10-minute reminder sometimes, or just need to go back and go, is that today or is that tomorrow? So just really having that is so important.
Ruth has a really good question here. She asked, when you're building a team, when you have new people, do you help them each as needed, or do you set a time? So what we do, Ruth, is a little bit of both. Our team is growing really, really fast right now, so we've had to actually do both. So what Trish and I do is we do welcome calls, and we call them strategy sessions with new team members who are coming in. They're pretty short, but they're a touch point, right? They're like, this is who we are, this is what we're all about, where do you want to go? Here's a pathway. And then after that, we actually do what we call a daily huddle. And every day at 11:30 Eastern, we have a huddle online on Zoom where our team all hops in, and we share it's usually about 20 minutes long. We share a short training, we answer questions, we make ourselves available, and then everybody can be off running, doing what they have to do for that day. And then we have on Sunday nights, or now Monday nights, a big team call, and Wednesday nights, a call for new people getting started, like a getting started call. So that seems to work well. And then obviously as team members need help with, three-way conversations, and that they reach out individually.
Yeah, it's been very helpful for us. And especially because we have we've got new people coming in every single day now. So that daily huddle has been huge, I think. Because people get to know us immediately, they get to hear a little bit about us, but we're also giving them a strategy for the day, something to go out and be focused on for that day. So it's, we do Zoom mostly, Luann. Every once in a while we do a call, but for the most part, we try to do Zoom for everything because it's really much more personable, in my opinion. Yeah. Let's see. Sandra still uses an old large desk calendar. She color codes. That's good. Hey, you just need to use what works for you.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Pen to paper, Janice says, triggers her brain. Let's see. Luann says, so great to work on the same stuff that you are. Helps a lot. Let's see here. We've got all sorts of answers. So guys, do you have any other questions? These are really great questions. And I really appreciate you guys being so interactive with us, because it makes it so much easier to make sure that we're really answering the questions that you guys actually have.
Yeah, it's way better, guys, than us just guessing how we can help you. We always come up with some points that we think will be helpful because they've helped us, but hearing your questions is way better.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Do you see?
All right. I don't have any more questions.
Yeah, I don't see any more questions either. I don't. So, Well, that's awesome. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you guys. If you guys have found this useful, just drop us a value so that we know. And if there's, any other last questions you have that you think of afterwards, go ahead and type them in too. And you can always tag Ruth or I in there so that we can, come back and answer it. Or we'll just wait just a second to see if there's any extras. But right now, I think you guys did such an awesome job. I really love it, and we appreciate you. So, and I hear Rob saying to make sure to tune in for his training on Tuesday. He's going to be doing something really awesome with you guys on his Tech Talk Tuesday that he does. So make sure to join in. He really loves that call, you guys. So, and I know so many of you do because he's had a lot of people on those calls and getting a lot of value. So I'm really glad you guys are using the resources that we're putting out there for you.
Awesome, guys. We'll have a fantastic rest of the week. Finish strong. And Rob will be back here Tuesday, and we will be back next Thursday with another training.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye for now.